when I first started my career, it was at a big multinational firm here in the UAE. And sadly, we don't talk about this, but racism and sexism were two very big
Wow.
factors in my life. I'm a brown woman in construction. So I was
Mm.
never part of the construction boys club. And I still am a bit of an outcast, but I celebrate that. So I never focused on either my gender or my race, which, I was born with. There's nothing I can do with that. I honestly just honed my craft. And my mantra has always been something Steve Martin said: be so good that they cannot ignore you. And
Mm.
when I was in my 20s, like you said, we all are a bit cocky and really confident. And then you hit your 30s and you're like, oh my God, you hit insecurity massively, right? But part of that journey was I felt like I stagnated in Dubai after working here for 3 years. And I thought, I want to go and work in a big city and in an international city where people would probably be color and race and gender blind. And let me
Mhm.
see how I fare there. And that's when I moved to London. And, I worked for another really big multinational practice, had a fantastic experience because over there, it's like, you are only seen for how good you are and what you can do. And
Mhm.
that was my first real confidence injection. I was like, oh, hang on a second. You don't care where I'm from. You don't care, what my gender is. And I think that kind of gave me a lot of confidence in my expertise, but not
Mhm.
as me as a person, because you can be confident of your
Mhm.
abilities. But I always find falling back or relying on your expertise and your knowledge, you just can't go wrong with that. And that was kind of the London experience, which was very, very fun for me. Very much colorblind until I worked for a multinational. That's when color hit me, right?
Okay.
And it wasn't like it was a local firm. It
Mm.
wasn't, because they've always been respectful towards me. What I can always repeat to anyone who might be going through this, and I think things have changed. Now people don't do that because at the end of the day, if you're paying a fee, you just want the best person for the job. You really don't care what they look like or where they're from. If they can do the job and they can do it really well, that's where you should spend your big bucks. But I think
Mhm.
my one piece of advice would be what I did, even though I internally struggled with it a lot. I just focused on my craft. I kept going back to school. I was like, you know what? This other person hasn't done a master's in critical design theory and environmental science. Let me do that. This
Mhm.
other person might not have done a lead certification. Let me do that. Let me do a course in photography. So for me, it was investing in myself. And even now, I'm doing my MBA. No one's asking me to do my MBA, but I just don't want to become that has been. You can't rely on your past successes. You have to keep building and building, and that only comes with investing in yourself. So please, if there's one thing you take away from this talk, is please spend some time investing in yourself, whether it's leadership, whether it's coaching, whether it's just hard skills, whether it's a software or management, whatever it is. So that
Mhm.
would be my one key takeaway. Oh my God, I'm going to sound like this most negative person, but I'll tell you how it happened because I'm just a very honest person. I got pregnant and
Mhm.
I was passed up for a promotion that was promised to me because I was pregnant, and my male colleague got that position.
Mhm.
And I was baffled. I was like, really? In 2013, people are doing stuff like this? This is insane. And I just decided, I'd had enough of this chauvinistic world, basically. So it was more like, I was really pissed off. I was like, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what I can do. And
Mhm.
I just started as a freelancer. I was in a spare bedroom in my home, because I couldn't afford a full studio or even the licensing costs at that time. Um, and it just snowballed. There were these amazing clients, and they're all local, by the way. It was the royal family, and it was
Mhm.
this amazing gentleman from Kuwait. They were like, listen, we've got this hotel. Do you want to do this hotel? And I was like, yes, let me just hire 10 people and I'll come back to you. Um, but it kind of just snowballed. And, I think it's also having a supportive partner. My husband's always been super supportive of me. And he said, listen, we got a cobble, we'll put our savings together. Let's pay for the license. Let's set up a studio. And we did it. So it wasn't intentional. I wasn't trying to, I don't think the UAE needed another design firm. I needed flexibility as a working mother, and I needed respect in the field, And it was always a hard slog because every time, even now, when I turn up to the construction site or when I turn up in a boardroom, very often I'm the only woman. And the first impression people get, right? Like we're judgmental. We make quick judgments on people, And I remember this quote by Carly Fiorina. She was the CEO of HP. She said, "I'm either a bimbo or a female dog." Okay. And that's the first impression people get. And then you start talking and then you show a proven track record of success. And then people are like, actually, hang on, she's neither. She's actually an expert in her field. So Roar came about very accidentally, but now it's a very conscious decision. We're 92% female in our staff of 30, and that is intentional because I want to empower other people. Actually, let me take that back. Empower is a very sad word. I just want to work with other fabulous women who are killing it every single day. Is trial and error. If anyone tells me they had a 5-year game plan of becoming XYZ, well, congratulations. 5-year game plans are useless because things change. We live in a dynamic world, and you have to be agile to kind of respond to this dynamic world that we live in. So for me, it was trial and error. I just knew there were 3 things that were my priority. My number 1 priority was my client, making sure they come back to me and only me. So repeat business was important to me. My number 2 thing was I will never compromise on creativity, even if it comes at the cost of my commercial fees or it comes at the cost of extra hours. I don't care. I will never compromise on that. And I think the 3rd thing, which is the most important thing for me, is having fun. And I think you see all these 3 elements in my work today, in the studio's work today, because it's not just my work, it's my team's work, right? I think we prioritize these 3 things: client, creativity, and having a good time. I mean, if you're not having a good time, please just pack your bags and stop doing what you're doing. Not. I'll tell you what my major career highlights. I've been doing this for 20 years, nearly 20 years, 18 years now. My major career highlights were, I would say, like my track record of 90% repeat business. This is my biggest career highlight, And okay, yes, you talked about it earlier. We win awards and all of that kind of stuff. That's momentary. That's really fleeting. In one moment you win an award, it makes you happy, but what happens tomorrow, So I think my strive for mastery and my strive for excellence is an everyday highlight. But if I had to pick like one career highlight, this year in 2021, I was chosen Global Interior Designer of the Year from this magazine, Interior Design Magazine, which I have been reading since I was 18 years old. So for me, I was like, this is not just Dubai. This is the world. Like the world knows who I am. I was blown away. So this was a big career highlight for me, I would say.